welcome you all. Yeah, well, let me formally welcome you all to this session. We normally record these sessions because there are some of the parents who request us to record it so that they can watch the recording. So that's how we normally end up recording it. Okay, now first of all, I'm going to tell you what this entire uh, mission is, or what we do. So my name is Ashish Dikshit, because I think barring a couple of you others are new. So I guess I'm meeting you all for the first time. So my name is Ashish Dikshit, and I am a founder of a career counseling institution called Career Guidance for You. So the main work that we do is, so we are located at Mumbai. We do work all across the whole of India, as well as we also do work internationally through the online platform. And the main work that we do is we are into career counseling and life skills training, but our main focus is career counseling. So our career counseling happens at various levels. So we do career counseling for students who are anywhere from, so first segment of career counseling is students who are from the 8th to the 12th grade. So this is one segment of students for whom we guide them and their parents on what are the right careers that they can go for after their 12th and so on and so forth. Then the second segment is students who are already into college, who are already undergraduation. So a lot of opportunities are there after graduation these days. In some cases, 10 to 15 opportunities are there. So again, a lot of graduating students have started coming now to take guidance on what is the exact career that they should be looking at from a post-graduation and a career role perspective. And the third audience that we do is audience which is already working. We started getting working populations or young graduates, or in fact, some of the young professionals. So in some cases, we have also started getting senior professionals who want to just ensure that they are working in the right role or the right department, and they are working as per they are working in roles that are in sync with their strengths. So that is the primary work that we do. And what we have seen is that while we have been doing this work, many times we find that when students come to us, they we do the counseling. Our counseling program is takes about 10 days, 15 days as per the availability of the students. But at the end of the day, they want to be in touch with us. We've seen that their motivation levels itself goes high, comes low. There are times when they have their doubts, etc. And therefore, we've seen that they keep coming back to us in terms of their inputs or in terms of their queries, etc. So we thought, why not create a mechanism or a framework where students can come, and it's like a get together. So therefore, we started an initiative about I think this was about 1.5 months back, called CGFY. CGFY stands for Career Guidance for You. So that's how we operate. We started an initiative called CGFY Knowledge and Skills Get-Together. So as a part of CGFY Knowledge and Skills Get-Together, we are saying that this is a get-together that will happen. Normally, most of the sessions are for students and parents together, but this time the session is specifically for the parents or those who are, adults. So the whole idea of having this CGFY Knowledge and Skills Get-Together is that we get together for about an hour on a Wednesday, and we are keeping the sessions on every alternate Wednesdays. So every alternate Wednesdays, we all come together. We have a little bit of a get together, and in that we try to discuss certain things which are going to enhance our knowledge, which are going to enhance our skills from a career perspective. So if you are a student, it will be useful from your perspective. If you are a parent, then it will help you in guiding your child, and it may at times also help you in your own professions. So that is the whole idea of this kind of get-togethers. And the topic that we've decided, so we've already done about, and this is a new initiative which we started. We have initially planned that we'll have a series of about 12 sessions. And then depending upon the response, we will look at continuing the initiative further. So that's the whole idea. And I'm going to share my screen and start with the topic for today. So today, okay, so let me just, so I have, okay, so, okay, so essentially the topic that we are talking about is enabling career talks with teenage children. Now, since a lot of work that we do is pertaining to career counseling, and therefore we end up actually having our typical career counseling sessions are the father, mother, and the son or the daughter who is probably 14 or 15 or 16 or in certain cases 18, 19, etc. So that is a large amount of crowd we get from that segment, and what we have seen is that sometimes you'll be surprised, but you'll see that okay, we're talking to the child, and sometimes the parents looks at the child surprisingly saying, "Ki, Arey, I was not aware of that." So then sometimes while in that conversation that is happening with the child, certain things the parents actually get to know about the child, and that just shows that while we are with our children, and I myself, parent of two children. So while we spend such a lot of time with our own children, but sometimes that kind of open communication actually is not there, and for variety of reasons, etc. And therefore, we have always thought that there is a huge challenge that is there in the society with respect to communication gap between parents and children, and it is this communication gap that is also creating problems for the children in terms of choosing the right career. And therefore we thought we will take this topic. It is essentially about how to communicate effectively with your child. Specific examples that we're going to talk about are related to career talks with teenage children, but this can be used for any segment, for any kind of interpersonal relations between any two individuals. Yeah, and we are going to use a very important tool called transactional analysis. So that's what we are going to do. Okay, and the purpose of this session is to equip. So we are saying parents. Essentially, it is to equip all of you all with the tools so that you are able to navigate discussions. Now, it could be career discussions or skill related discussions or academic discussions with your child, or in the case of Vaibhav sir, it may be with your own students or maybe with your clients or whatever the case may be. Okay. And we are going to use the topic of transactional analysis. Now, see, first and foremost, a little background. Why is it that career talks matter to children? Now, why is it important that there has to be a healthy conversation about careers in families? So first of all, we see that the conversation in families itself is coming down. That is primarily because after COVID, there was a huge change and a lot of children went into their gadgets, etc. And therefore, the general communication levels have come down. And therefore, because they have come down, the communication with respect to careers have also come down. And many times, we have this typical conversation, which is like, okay, what do you want to be? We have a very direct conversation. Okay, what do you want to be? What have you decided, etc. Whereas the world of teenagers is very, very dynamic. I mean, they are literally pounded with information from all sides: social media, peers, school, college, teachers, billboards, advertisements, etc., etc. And therefore, there's such a lot of confusion. Secondly, the firm at one point of time, there were certain secure careers called firm careers. So at one point of time, medicine or engineering or CA or law were considered to be like really like safe career options or secure options. But we come to know all the time. I mean, just the other day, last week, people are talking about TCS laying off 15,000 people. I mean, that's really big, right? And suddenly, the profession of computer science and IT, which till about 2 years back was the toast of all youngsters. Now, today, youngsters come and say, I want to do engineering, but suddenly I'm just finding that IT no longer has a scope. So, does it have a scope or doesn't it have a scope? I mean, these kind of conversations ideally can always happen even at the home level. And therefore, it is important that children and teenagers have that faith in their own parents that they are able to have this open kind of conversations. So that's what we are going to attempt through this session. Okay, let me just move forward to the next slide. Okay, I'm just skipping this slide. I think I've just covered that. Now, some of the challenges that parents face with respect to career discussions. Okay, so now the biggest challenge that parents face is communication gap. See, for example, today a lot of times some of the parents have told me that my daughter comes and she comes from school or she comes from college and then she just locks the door and sits inside and we are just waiting for her. So it's really very difficult and challenging. These kind of things are quite common. So communication gaps are very high these days. That's one. Secondly, what we have seen is that okay, now see these days a lot of parents compared to, let's say, when we grew up, our parents were very firm up with us. They would tell us कि ये करो या ये मत करो, या and that's how communication used to be at that point of time. But these days, a lot of parents are also liberal, so they want to give a lot of independence to the children. So I get a lot of parents who come and say that, okay, I have left it to the child, and let them decide what they want. So that is a very good and a proactive approach, but sometimes it backfires because at the age of 14, a child still does not have the right kind of maturity, and the bombardment of information is so much that the child is getting easily confused. So if a parent is enforcing a view on the child, that's also a problem. But if a parent is completely leaving it to the child, that's also is a problem for children. Okay, therefore, how to balance guidance with independence is a trick. It's a tricky area. Okay, third is generational differences, in the sense that, we always say that, okay, in our times, a lot of times, parents, when we are in a discussion, they always come and say that in our times, we never did this, what my son does. And, you can actually see the son making a face to his dad or mom, and because, those times were different, these times are different. There is a change in generation every 7 years, and typically, so between us and our children, there are about 4 to 5 generations, about 4 generations gap. And therefore, the way they think, the way they learn, the way they get motivated, the way they get demotivated, very different from what happened in our times. Okay, so therefore, it's really the generation gap is real gap. And fourth is, obviously, we talked about the influence of peers, media, so societal expectations. Okay, now this influence, I was talking about this influence on the children about 5 minutes back, but right now I'm talking about this influence on the parents. Now, parents are also bombarded with a lot of information from their own peers. So sometimes their own peers have this discussion. There is a peer pressure amongst even parents in terms of what are the children doing, in what kind of colleges are they going, what kind of careers are they pursuing, what kind of universities they are going, and all of that. And of course, societal expectations. I mean, we have actually grown in a society where we have actually catered to societal expectations and tried to match them. And therefore, when it comes to decisions for our children, we are using a similar lens. So these are some of the challenges that we as parents face. And I think one of the best tools that one can really take recourse to kind of get a breakthrough in these conversations is transactional analysis. I think it's a fantastic tool. I have done a lot of study on this for so many years, and it's so beautiful. And so transactional analysis. So transaction is nothing but it's an interaction, and this was developed by Dr. Eric Byrne. He has written a fantastic. I mean, those of you who are more interested to know about this subject, etc., you all can read a book called Games People Play by Dr. Eric Byrne. It's a beautiful book on this concept. And there is a book called Dr. Thomas Harris, which is called I Am Okay, You Are Okay. Again, wonderful book. So, in case you like the topic and you want to know more, etc., we can always read these books also. In case those of you who are more reading oriented. Okay, so this is a great topic, and it gives tremendous amount of breakthroughs in terms of how we communicate with others, as well as the kind of interpersonal relationships and trust that we can have in a relationship. So that's a background, and let us learn more about what it is. So okay, now okay, so okay, now first and foremost, so I'm not really, since this is not like an educational topic for you all, because I mean, we are not students of psychiatry or psychology, but we have to just look at the applications, and therefore I'm going to conduct the entire session from the application perspective. The entire concept is based on 4 solid pillars. Okay, so okay, now these 4 pillars, if you see, you can. Yeah, so ego states, transactions, life positions, and games. these are four pillars. Now, I think Aparna ma'am was talking about ego states, etc. So these are the four pillars on which the entire concept is based. Now, before we go forward, I'm going to just take a little bit of a small, kind of a poll here, and I'm just going to look at, there's a question. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to take a small poll. Okay. So you just have to go to this mentimeter.com. If you can just go to menti.com. Okay. If you can just go to menti.com and use this code, okay, you will get this question. So if just type on your browser menti.com and use this code 43064388, and it's a question will pop up. In one word, how would you describe your last conversation with your, you can say, child about their future? So you can just do that and let's just see what pops up. Just go to your browser, just type menti.com, use the code that is given here 43064388, and you will get that question. You can just type out the answers. Okay, is anyone trying it? I mean, you can always tell me yes, no, and then I'll know the whether. Okay, so while you do that, I'm once again starting the presentation. Okay. Okay, now some of you may have heard. So those of you who have actually heard about these concepts, you can just write down in the chat. You can just write down yes, heard or something like that. Those of you who have absolutely not heard, you can just say not heard, or you can say heard about ego states, not heard about life positions, whatever. So then I'll get an idea in terms of where you stand in terms of these concepts. You can just type it out if you are aware of some of these concepts, and we move forward. Now, the first thing that we are going to look at, so in this talk, I'm going to cover ego states, I'm going to cover transactions, and I will just do a little introduction on life positions. So these are the three things that we will be doing. Okay, Vaibhav is saying not heard. All right, so fine. Thank you for participating. Okay, please keep interacting. That will give us a better feel. Okay, now let us now primarily there are three ego states. Now, what is an ego state? Ego state means it is the state from which we operate. So I'm just going to yeah, heard. Okay, yes, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so I'm just going to uh, just go to the next slide, and I hope you all can see the screen. Okay. Can you first see this diagram? Okay. Now, if you see this diagram, you can see there are three main circles in this diagram. The top circle is called parent, the middle circle is called adult, and the bottom circle is called child. Now, each one of us, you and me and all 10, 12 of us who are here in this room, as well as our own children, our partners, our clients, our students, our customers, everyone, our parents, all of us have a unique profile of our own ego state. A unique profile of an ego state means that we all operate when we communicate with others. We are either operating from our parent ego state, from our adult ego state, or from our child ego state. Now, let me explain what these ego states are. Now, in parent ego state, there are two parts or two components. One component of a parent ego state is called the nurturing parent. Okay, nurturing parent, and the so now what is a so when let's say, so now parent ego state is that ego state in which our interaction is based on learnings that we have primarily got from our own parents, our own teachers, and all figures of authority. So, like whatever I have got, whatever conditional. So, parent ego state is called an ego state, which is, I mean, it's an ego state in which we communicate based on our conditioning of our mind is when we were small children. So it's like this, So when, see, for example, as a small baby, you look at a small baby of a few days old and then a few months old, etc. Now let us fast forward and look at, a small child of 6 months or 8 months, etc. It is said that the child wants to be held all the time. The child, so you touch the child, you play with the child, you hold the child, now all that. So child obviously does not have the language of the words, but child understands body language and non-verbal communication and all the acts of love and encouragement and what do you say, belongingness, etc., are all stored in our brain and they form that ego state called nurturing parent ego state. So, nurturing parent ego state that is there in our minds is that ego state that we operate from, which comes out of the nurturing that we have received when we were small children. And these the ego states normally get formed by the time one is 6 or 8 years old, and after that, more or less, they may not change drastically. And therefore, they are formed many years back when we were small children. So when we are operating from a nurturing ego state, we are operating with communication which is very encouraging, which is very supportive, which is very inspirational, motivational. Now, what is a critical parent ego state? Anyone? So critical parent ego state is that ego state. Now, so like when we're a small baby of an year or so, a baby may be crawling and the baby may be very curious, right? Right? Babies are very curious. So a baby may try to put a finger in a socket, electrical socket. And what is the parent going to do? The parent is going to just pull the hand of the child, right? It's good. Now the baby is going to get a shock because the baby would not realize that there is a danger there. But the baby just feels that, oh my God, why am I not being allowed to do this? So the baby gets a shock. Or let's say a child of 2 years old, you are on the road with your 2-year-old child. The child does not understand the dangers of being on a road where there is traffic. And a child may just want to run and play, and then you are going to shout at the child because you care for the child. So all the inputs that the child receives by way of uh, getting directed, controlled, being criticized, etc. The child doesn't understand the logic behind them, but there is a pattern that is formed. There's an ego state that gets formed called the controlling parent ego state. So in this controlling parent ego state, we feel controlled and directed, and when we are operating, there are times when we may operate from here. So we may have a communication which is very controlling. We may have communication which is very critical. Okay. So as a parent, our own communication is going to happen from a nurturing perspective or from a controlling or a directing perspective. Okay, clear so far? If it is clear so far, you can just, if is parent ego state, because parent ego state is extremely important to understand, then everything else will be very simple. So those of you who are very clear, you can just say yes, you can just type out Y. If you're not clear, you can just say N, and then I will explain once again. Because this is the most important concept to understand. Okay, I can see two yeses, and therefore I'm just moving forward. Okay, I can see three yeses. Now, what is an adult ego state? So adult ego state is that ego state in which you are talking rational things. So in a parent ego state, I may say that, so parent ego state is more operating from conditioning. There may not be facts and figures that support it. See, for example, when you say that the age of getting married should be 25 for a boy, for example, I'm just saying, or a 26 for a boy, 27. Where is the fact that supports it? There's no fact. It's a conditioning. Or when we say that engineering is a safe career, where is the fact? It's not a fact, it's a conditioning from our childhood that engineering is a safe career or a good career. Okay. Why should engineering be a good career? Where is a fact that supports that? Whereas when we say that adult ego state, when we are operating, we may say that, okay, out of the total number of jobs in the organized sector in India, let's say 20% of the jobs go for engineers. If I support with this may not be right, I'm just using it to explain what is adult ego state. So if I'm giving a fact and figure, then there is a lot of base to the whole thing. So a conversation that comes from an adult ego state, it comes with facts and figures and logic and logic and reasoning. So that's how the conversation comes from an adult ego state. Now, if you look at child ego state, so adult ego state, I'm sure is very easy to understand. I'm sure if you have understood, just type out yes, just type out Y. Now, what is a child ego state? Child ego state is that ego state. So if you see, there are two compartments here, something called as free child and adapted child. Now, what's a free child? So, free child stands for that behavior and that communication, which is fully freely expressed happiness. Like happiness expressed while planning a picnic, or a child also plays a lot. So, the happiness that a child experiences when a child is playing, and therefore a child is like playing and like free and kind of shouting and playing and having fun, etc. That kind of conditioning is free child. Now, what is adapted child? Adapted child means because each and every child is bound to get inputs from a critical parent perspective, because the parents, children are going to move around, they are going to crawl, and therefore, for keeping them safe, every parent or parents or elder figures are going to give them a lot of directed messages or directed signals. They're going to shout at them. They're going to probably these days parents don't slap or hit children, but definitely they can shout, right? Because if a child is suddenly starts running or suddenly does something like goes near a something that is dangerous, then parents are going to shout. Now, depending upon the frequency of that of child's own parents, adapted child means that a child may either adapt and become uh, submissive. Submissive. So submissive child is that, see, now adapted child means how is a child adapting to authority. So there are some children who, because for them parents are authority, teachers are authority, every elder is an authority. So some of us may develop that submissive child, adaptive child ego state, wherein you get submissive in front of authority. And some of us may get that streak of rebelliousness कि चलो बहुत हो गया अभी, now I will show you, it is my chance, मेरा time आएगा, that kind of a thing. So that is called rebellious. So some of us have formed that kind of an ego state, which is called rebellious adapted child. So therefore our way of uh, dealing or communicating with authority is that we want to rebel, we want to not listen to what the authority says, etc. Is this clear? Is the child ego state clear? Because this is the most fundamental. See, it is not, for me, it's not about covering a lot of topics, but even if we get to know the ego states and transactions, I think that will be good enough for delivering the intention of this topic. Okay, so I get some yeses. I'm moving on to the next slide. Now that you have understood that there is so we have, like, you can say we actually have a parent adult child profile. If you want to find out your parent adult child profile, you can get in touch with us. We can give you a checklist or a psychometric test, and you can do it for yourself. So you'll get to know generally, if you are communicating 100 times, what part of out of 100 times, how many, or out of 10 times, how many times are you operating from your parent ego state, how many times you're operating from adult, and how many times we are operating from our own child state. So there are checklists and tests to find that. So we can do that. Okay. So, just this is just for you to get an idea. Now, if you see, you will see on the first column, when are we operating from a controlling parent state? We operate from a controlling parent state when, look at on the left hand side, you will see these ego states are displayed either through our words, through our body language like gestures, postures, tone of voice, or facial expressions. So when you say, okay, you should do this. Okay. So children should sleep early. Now, I'm not saying children should not sleep early, but the moment we say children should sleep early, we are talking from a conditioning. But when we say that, uh, all right, okay, Amol sir, I got your message. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. So when a child when a so when we say that when we tell a child that, when we tell a 15-year-old that, see, if you sleep early, then you are aligning to a circadian rhythm. And if you sleep late, then you are actually going against the circadian or the biological rhythm. Then we are not coming from controlling parent state. We are talking about a scientific concept called circadian rhythm, and we are telling them with facts and logic. So that is an adult stage. So therefore, adult will talk about how, why, who, the logical questions. Nurturing will be more, oh wow, it's so nice that you are sleeping early. So it's more like feelings oriented, more motivational in terms of feelings, etc. So this is just a small uh, uh, chart for you so that you can get to know generally how we speak. Do we say, okay, you should do this, we should do that? Or if we say that, okay, if you do this, this is what will happen. If you do that, this is what will happen. So if you do this, this is what will happen is adult. Even employees, I mean, if you are a senior manager and you've got team members, you keep telling them, okay, you should do this, you should come on time, you should be making a report like this. People may not like it. So, okay, all the time, generally. Now, okay, now let us understand the most crucial part of this discussion. Okay, yeah, we've got still about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour. Okay. Now we have got, now depending upon how you operate. So this PST stands for your ego state, and the other PST stands for, let's say, the ego state of your child. So let's say your child is 14-year-old, and you are obviously, you are a parent. So the first diagram on the left-hand side is showing a complementary transaction from adult to adult. So there are three types of transactions. One is complementary, second is crossed. Now, complementary transaction means transactions in which you will experience oneness and peace. And cross transaction means there is a conflict in a conversation. Okay. So let us study this. I mean, let us understand this with some examples. So if I'm talking to my, let's say, 17-year-old daughter, and I'm saying, okay, why don't you attend this new skilling program on Google? Because this new skilling program on Google will give you the basic uh, tools which are required for you to get an internship. Okay, so now that is like a adult to adult. So I'm trying to appeal to the adult ego state of my daughter and telling her that if you want an internship, then this particular training program from Google will be interesting for you. Now, the other way I have seen is, we say, अरे यार पूरा दिन घर में बैठी रहती है, मैं बोल रही हूँ कभी से कोर्स करो, गूगल का कोर्स करो, कुछ का इंटर्नशिप करो. Now, when you are saying that, you are kind of operating either from your parent or you are operating from your child, like a free child who is not under control, or you are operating, or okay, let's say a typical parental response to the same example would be, घर, 4 घंटा कॉलेज करना में, वो क्या समझदारी है. और थिंग्स लाइक, अरे सिर्फ 4 घंटा कॉलेज जाके आती है और दिन भर कुछ नहीं करती, कभी भी कुछ नहीं करती ना दिस. एंड ऐसा करने से क्या होने वाला है? हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू हैव अ ग्रेट करियर इफ यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू एनीथिंग बियॉन्ड जस्ट अटेंडिंग 4 years of college? So this is not coming from logic, because this is coming from exasperation. It's coming from, if you don't study for more than 5 hours, or if you are in the 12th standard, if you don't study for more than, say, 5 hours a day, you're not going to clear the JE entrance exam or the medical entrance exam. Now that comes from, where are the facts that support this? There are no facts. It comes from conditioning, because there are students who study quite less and still clear the entrance exams. So now if a complementary transaction, so suppose I am talking from my adult and saying that, okay, this is a good course from Google. If you want an internship, please do that. And if my daughter tells me that, uh, yeah, okay, it's a good course, but I'm just having my internal exams coming up, and as soon as my internal exams are over, I will definitely look at that course, and I will decide whether to join or not. So the daughter has also responded in a which ego state? adult ego state, right? Because she is saying that there is an internal exam, etc. Now, if I tell my daughter, "Arey, this is a good Google ka training program, please do that program," and if she responds back saying that, "Arey, all the time you keep telling me do this, do that," then is she responding from an adult state? Anyone? She's not, right? She's responding. So it is a here you will see subordinate and boss, but just ignore that. It is parent and child. Just imagine it's parent and child. So so I have told my daughter from adult to adult, and the daughter suddenly is responding either from the child state saying that, okay, all the time you are just going to keep cribbing at me, or you never allow me to do whatever I want, or or she may say, oh, all parents are like that. That is a conditioning of the mind. That is just a child is operating from a parent ego state, that all parents are like that. Okay, yeah, child state, absolutely right. So it could be either child state, if the daughter throws a tantrum, or if she gives a very cynical comment. Lot of times cynical comments, अरे ये सब parents है ना ऐसे ही होते हैं, उनको समझ में नहीं आता. That's a very cynical comment. Therefore, the cynical comments come from parent ego state. Getting it? Okay. So therefore, a complementary so basically so suppose suppose you ask your daughter, okay, what is what is the what are the subjects which you find the most interesting? What are you operating from? Where are you operating from? Which are the subjects which you find the most interesting? And and your daughter may say, or your son may say, okay, I find biology and art the most interesting. It is again an adult to adult conversation which gives a lot of peace. It's a good conversation, it moves forward. But if you are asking your daughter or your son, okay, which are the subjects that are most interesting for you? And your daughter says, okay, please, I'm watching TV, don't disturb me. Then again, she's talking from, or he's talking from child ego state. So this is a cross transaction. So are you getting a sense of what is a complementary transaction and a cross transaction? You can just type out yes, no, because this is the crux of this subject, of this topic. Are you getting the difference between what is a complementary and what is a, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, I can see one response. You see the difference between complementary and okay, I see two responses. All right. So I'm assuming that others have also understood this. If you've not understood, please ask me, because this is the crux. First is you have to understand this and then you have to use it. All right. Let's move forward. Now that you have understood what is that concept, I'm going to introduce you to a wonderful concept of transactional analysis called a stroke. STROK, stroke. Now, what is a stroke? A stroke is a unit of attention. So let's say you are uh, okay, if let's say you've come back from office very tired, you press the door, you come back at 9 p.m. and you come back at 9 p.m. and your uh, son just opens the door and he does not even look at you. How would you feel? How do you feel? You come back fully tired. It's 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. You work for about 12, 13. Yeah, you will feel bad, right? Obviously, because you were ignored, you will feel bad. So therefore, there was no stroke given by your son to you, and therefore, when there is no attention, there is no stroke. And when there is attention, now if your son opens the door and looks at you and maintains an eye contact, there is certain level of stroke. And if he asks you for a glass of water, definitely he has given you attention, so he has given you a proper stroke. So a transaction which provides a recognition or stimulation is called a stroke. So let's say your son has come back from, he's gone to play, he's come back, and if he's come back and he's come with and you are just busy talking on your mobile. You have not given any stroke, but you actually keep the mobile away and you say, oh wow, good, you have come back. Dinner is ready. Why don't you have your dinner? So you've given him attention. You have given him a stroke. Now there are different kinds of strokes. So let us understand what is a positive stroke. Now, so positive stroke means you have given a stroke which makes the other person a little happy, okay, which is pleasing for the other person. So if you're uh, okay, so if your son comes back, has gone down to play or gone down somewhere, he comes back at 8 o'clock, and then you you tell him, अच्छा बेटा आजा, तुम्हारे लिए तुम्हारी पसंद की सब्जी बनाई है. So you are giving a positive stroke because you are giving an attention and you are actually saying that I have made तुम्हारी पसंद की सब्जी. It's something that he is going to feel bad. But if your son comes at 8 o'clock, you say, अरे मैंने बोला था ना 7 बजे आने को, आज आज हमको जल्दी जाना है या जल्दी खाना खाना है, बाहर जाना है, और तू अभी आ रहा है. Now he's not going to like that, right? He's just come back from somewhere, and this is a first. Now what you are saying may be right, but this gets recorded as a negative stroke. So positive stroke means someone is going to feel good. Negative stroke means someone is not going to feel good. And what is stroke hunger? Okay, I think those concepts are a little deeper, stroke hunger and survival quotient. I'm not sure whether I should do them because I'm also mindful of the time. Okay, I think I'll just do them. Yeah, quickly do them. Now, stroke hunger means what? See, all of us as human beings are basically, we are said to be um, psychological beings, right? We are human beings, we are not animals. So therefore, we require attention. We live in a society, we require attention. Now, the word, so see, as we grow up, today we have a lot of parents who are working, etc. I'm not making any judgments. I'm just talking about the overall how the society is. So we have parents who are working. Then sometimes children are growing up, being taken care of by maids, etc., and all of that, or they go to a play school. I mean, what is that called? A play group and all that happens. It's quite possible that children feel indifference from parents. So, I mean, we basically work because we have to run the family, we have to provide for our children. With that intention, we do all of that. But how a child infers, we have no idea, right? The child may feel that I'm being just ignored, and therefore, if it is said that when a child is very small, you should hug the child, you should show a lot of affection, etc. It's so important. In fact, those of you whose children are in school right now till about 15, 16, 17, 18, three great practices are: whenever a child gets up, whenever a child is coming back from school or from college, and whenever a child is just before sleeping, these are the three times which are extremely important, and you should try to give a physical stroke to your child at these times. When a child has got up from sleep, etc., you give a physical stroke, which is like a hug or a touch, or wishing good morning or something. They just feel good about it. They just feel good about it. Then when a child is coming from school, sometimes there is bullying that happens in a school. Sometimes there is something unpleasant that happened. Teacher may have scolded the child. The child is not going to tell you everything. And then if you don't, so if you greet a child with a positive stroke, the best positive stroke is a physical touch of affection. That's the best one. Okay, so these are positive strokes. Now, if you do not give those positive strokes, if we ourselves as parents are sunk in our own mobiles or on television, or we are not available because we are working, etc., then the child starts becoming hungry for strokes. That's called stroke hunger. That means just like you don't give up food to a child, or if we don't get food, we are going to be hungry. If we do not get the right amount of attention, we start becoming stroke hungry. Stroke hungry. We want strokes, we want attention. And and therefore, if we are stroke hungry, sometimes just to get that attention, a child may start developing uh, negative behavior, because a negative behavior will also be noticed. So you must have seen that sometimes children throw tantrums because they want attention. So, therefore, it is important to give a lot of positive strokes to the children while they are growing up. So, and as well as when they are teenagers. As a teenager, a teenager is going through a lot of things, college, sometimes ups and downs in moods and mood swings and hormonal changes and relationships, and not too many. Sometimes these days, friendships are also being very challenging. We don't have those Sometimes, pure friendships are not happening so much as what used to happen 25 years back, because technology is making a lot of people more isolated, loneliness, etc. So, your teenage children also require a lot of strokes. They need attention from you. Okay. And if they don't get it, they will be stroke hungry. They will be hungry, and therefore they may do certain things that you don't approve just to seek your attention. Clear? So, are you clear with the concept of positive stroke, negative stroke, stroke hunger? In fact, one of the things that I would really invite all of you all to take back from this session. I mean, obviously we're talking about career conversations, but one of the things that I would like you all to take back is start actively giving positive strokes to your teenage children, and if they are younger, still the more. And even if they are beyond teenager, if they are 20, in their 20s, also you can do that. Okay, so start giving them positive strokes, which are through words of encouragement or through physical affection, etc. It will do a lot of good for their confidence, for their self-worth. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, now, okay, should I do this? How much time do we have? Okay, we have 15 more minutes. We're going to do the session till 8:10. So, हमारे पास 15-14 minutes. I think I'll quickly tell you this also. Okay. Um, so what happens is, while a child is growing up till the age of 6 or 8, etc., most of the children, initially they know that, I mean, because the children get a lot of directive inputs from parents, from teachers at the age of 4, 5, etc. Somewhere, they develop a position in life. These are called life positions. So they develop a position that I am not okay because I do not have the right kind of strength. I'm small. I make mistakes. I'm not able to do my ABCD, whatever. So I'm not okay, but you are okay because you are big, you got strength, you can do what you want, you have freedom. So most of the children start from a life position of I am not okay, you are okay. And many children continue to keep that life position of I am not okay, you are okay. And therefore, an extreme position here is about inferiority complex, etc. They feel that I'm not okay. Low confidence, inferiority complex comes from I'm not okay, you are okay, life position. Now, therefore, even parenting plays such a lot of important role, where, especially for younger children, because the more the positive strokes, the more the physical affection, the more the the less the critical conversations, and the more, more of nurturing, more of playfulness, etc., etc. And the child slowly realizes that, okay, actually, you are okay, but I'm also okay, not that bad. It's not that I keep making mistakes. So if I do my, okay, so if I don't do my ABCD right, my mom will say something. But if I do my ABCD right, she's going to praise me. So I'm actually okay. So that's how the child is developing the adult ego state. Okay. So therefore, a lot of it depends on us, So like, so ideally as parents, we have to move, and it can happen at your teenage children level also. If you find that your children are low in confidence, it means they're operating from I am not okay, you are okay. And how we give them positive strokes and acknowledge them will actually add nurturing and playfulness as a child, and adult to adult will make them I am okay, you are okay, which is actually the stage of confidence, the right kind of confidence. Now, some of the children go from I am not okay, you are okay to I'm not okay, you are also not okay. So, they may initially feel that parents are and all the higher authority figures are okay, but then they may get some experiences, and they may develop a tendency that, okay, there is something wrong with me, but there is something wrong with you also. So I am not okay, you are also not okay. No, these are the ones who are very cynical people. They have no hopes on anything. They feel ये दुनिया में क्या रखा है, ये world में कुछ नहीं होगा. And this hopelessness can later on give rise to things like depression, etc. Anxiety, depression, and all those things. And then I am okay, you are not okay is a superiority complex. So, you may suddenly find that I am okay, but then you are not okay. You become rebellious, and then you start operating from aggression and superiority complex. Okay. So these are the life positions that you have, that all of us have. Okay, the best life position that we can have as well as we can get our children to have is I am okay, you are okay. Okay, that should be our pursuit. Okay, now the whole key in this talk is now, so these are the basic concepts. So what I have covered so far right now is the basic concepts of transactional analysis. So we talked about the concept of ego state, which is parent, adult, child ego state. Within that, we saw nurturing parent, critical parent, free child, adapted child, rebellious, adapted child, submissive, and we saw adult ego state. So we saw what is ego state. We saw what is strokes, positive stroke, negative stroke, stroke hunger. We saw what is a complementary transaction, what is a cross transaction, and we saw what is a life position. Now, the skill will lie in applying these concepts. That's where the skill will lie in us as parents. And that's called transactional analysis in action. And transactional analysis in action means that whenever you are having a conversation with your child or anyone for that matter, which is going in a crossed transaction, how to move the conversation from a cross transaction to complementary is your art. So the science is in terms of understanding the concepts, and the art is in terms of using the concept in action. So let me just give you some examples of this. Okay, the trick, the art. It's not a trick. It's an art. It will require a lot of practice. So the art would be how to move this conversation in adult, and therefore I'm going to give you some hacks to operate from your adult state and nurturing parent ego state. Because whenever you are operating from your adult stage or adult ego state or nurturing parent ego state, you are going to be having very positive conversations regarding career or any subject with your child. So the first hack is active listening. Now, your child is talking to you. Your child is saying, okay, I find mathematics tough. And the next thing you blurt out is that कितने बार मैं बोलता हूँ कि प्रैक्टिस करो, you know. That's a parent ego state. But you are saying, okay, oh, really? So one of the ways of showing active listening is paraphrasing. So if your child is saying that, okay, I'm finding maths tough. Okay, oh, really? You find maths tough? Okay, what do you find tough in maths? Do you find which topic in maths do you find tough? Now that is, operating from your adult ego state, and not कि अरे मैं बोल रहा हूँ ट्यूशन टीचर का क्लास ट्यूशन ज्वाइन किया था वो तुमने छोड़ दिया. That is parent at ego state. So active listening, paraphrase, listen to your child, paraphrase it, give 100% attention, keep your mobiles away. That's active listening. And give 100% of your mind. You may be busy in your work, you may be busy in your cooking your food, etc. But give that active listening. Second is giving positive strokes. Very, very important. And one second. Yeah. So and the first one which I missed out was asking open-ended questions. Now, so for example, if you're see sometimes we ask the child, what do you want to become? And the child may say, I want to be a musician. And then and then you will say, so like a good parent, you are asking the child says, I want to be a musician, and you're going to be completely put off. You're going to say, अरे musician करके किसी का career बना है क्या? Now, musician करके किसी का career बना है क्या is a parent. So the moment, so therefore, the child may say, "I want to be a musician." You can say, "Okay, okay. So if you want to be a musician, which musician do you want to become? How do you think you can? Do you think there is a career in India for becoming a musician, or are you planning to have a career in some other country?" Are you aware of, okay, let you and me, let us try and find out how many musicians have been able to make a great career. Let us try and find out, is there a good pathway or a good institution wherein you can have a very solid career as a musician. So when you're asking open-ended questions, or sometimes child will say, okay, I like biology and art. You say, okay, art is of no use. Art is just a hobby. But if you just like biology, what is the point? You may say, okay, you like biology and art. Okay, what do you think about chemistry? Do you think the subject is interesting enough? So these are kind of open-ended questions. So the whole key in getting your child to communicate is by you converting your state into adult ego state or nurturing parent state and moving the conversations towards complementary conversations. So if you're suppose your child says that I don't want to. I've seen this many times. A ninth standard child telling the parents, I don't want to do engineering. I don't want to do medicine. Therefore, I will do commerce. And then the same child comes for counseling in the 11th grade, 12th grade, saying that I have joined commerce, but I don't find anything out of commerce interesting. So therefore, if your child is saying, I don't want to get into medical, I don't want to get into engineering, and therefore I want to do commerce. Okay, so what you can say is that, okay, fine. You can say, ask a question like, okay, if you are given one free day or two free days where you can study whatever you want, what is that subject that you will study? So let the child say what he or she wants. So normally what you say, अच्छा इंजीनियरिंग नहीं बनना है मेडिकल कॉमर्स में जाना है तो क्या बनना क्या है तेरे को this is how sometimes we may emotionally react. So that's the key. The key is to ask, get that conversations in adult to adult mode. Okay, now what are the challenges that parents face? The parents, first of all, the child may just have a resistance or lack of interest to talk to parents. And that is because now if a child is having lack of interest, one is of course the gadget, but the second is somewhere you can look at, are you operating from your nurturing parent or not? Look at that. Okay. Okay. Conflicting aspirations. If parents have a different aspiration and children have a different aspiration, then it's a challenge. Suppose the parents want lot of parents. Obviously, as parents, we want our child to go for the most educationally intensive. I know we all know that no career is safe, but at least we want them to get professionally educated. And the child may just say that, okay, I want to learn philosophy. I mean, these days, I know some children want to learn a combination of English and philosophy, and their parents are worried. Okay, what is my daughter going to do? How will she get a job if she's going to study philosophy and English or sociology? If my daughter is studying sociology and political science, how will she get a job? And if that's a son, they're more worried. Okay, because you had an aspiration that your son will become a doctor. Okay, peer influence and fear of the future, anxiety. I mean, we are also as parents, we have that anxiety that what if I am not able to guide my child correctly, and what if he doesn't gets into a wrong career. So these are some of the challenges that we as parents face, um, and this is fine. So I just want to go back to, I mean, we have this fears about the future of our children, etc., etc., etc. So, some of the pitfalls that I want to show you all, we get into many times a lecturing mode. So lecturing mode is a typical mode of operating from critical parent. We start giving, hey, ये तो मेरे डैडी तो हमेशा लेक्चर देते हैं, मम्मी तो हमेशा लेक्चर देती है, और we start judging, instead of exploring. We are into, अरे इसको तो पढ़ाई नहीं करनी है, इसको तो सिर्फ खेलना है, इसको तो सिर्फ मोबाइल देखना है. That's also being judged. Explore options. Okay, मोबाइल में देखना है तो can the mobile be used for something constructive, or can I make the whole learning more constructive? So these are some of the things. So this is, I think, the crux of this entire talk is, how do you overcome communication challenges with your child using the tools of TA? First of all, be self-aware about your own ego state. Do I operate from parent-adult state, ego state, nurturing parent, critical parent? Do I sometimes operate like a free child and have fun with my child, or am I all that I'm very serious? Or do I operate from adult to adult, or am I just operating from critical parent? So start being aware of your own ego state. Stay in the adult mode whenever there is a conflict. So in whenever there is a conflict, you want to talk about, okay, बेटा कितना मार्क्स आया? The child say, अरे मुझे तो अभी मार्क्स कुछ डिस्कस नहीं करना है. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, and you say, okay, why don't you talk about it? Yeah, so stay in the adult mode. Okay, you don't want to talk about, okay, can we talk about it in afternoon after 2 hours? That's an adult mode. So you stay in an adult mode whenever there is a conflict happening between you and your child. If the communication gap is there, then see whether you can operate from your free child. You can operate from your free child, you can operate from your nurturing parent. Okay. Okay. And this is the most important. Develop the art to move conversation into adult. So whenever you are talking, see, whenever you are talking careers with your child, you have to bring the conversation adult to okay. Okay, if you are interested in biology, say, okay, you are interested in biology, and child may say, I'm interested in biology, but I don't want to be a medical. Then you say, okay, you take PCM. Now that's parent ego state. But you say, okay, you want to don't want to get into medical, but you like biology. Let us, you and me, sit together and try to explore what are the different options related to biology, but which are non-medical and actually doing research. Now that is adult to adult. So that's the key. Okay, that's the key. And nurturing parent always works, especially 3 times during the day when you are first thing in the morning, just before sleeping, and when your child is coming home from college or school. Give nurturing parent, give a positive stroke, show your nurturing parent side to them. It'll do wonders for them. Okay, make use of positive strokes during interactions whenever you can. Not overdoing it, like उसको ज़्यादा लाड प्यार वैसा भी नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैं, but right amount of positive strokes. And you have to be conscious of your child's predominant life position. Try and find out. अभी see life positions के लिए भी psychometric test होते हैं. If you are interested, you can come to us. But otherwise, you can try and make a sense. Is my child like I am not okay, you are okay, or I am okay, you are not okay, or I am okay, you are okay. I'm okay, you are okay is what we have to really look at. So if you keep these 5 to 6 things in mind, you will definitely be able to have nice, good conversations with respect to career, because these days career conversations are not only about what is the career to be chosen, but also about what are the new skills to be learned. The child has to keep on learning in school, choose a career, build skills, build profile, do various courses along with your degree, etc. So while it's actually like a bouquet. So while your child is, let's say, studying engineering or commerce or arts or psychology, but what you will have to keep on telling your and having conversation with your child in terms of, okay, now which additional certifications are you going to do? Are you also going to do an AI certification, because AI is important for all careers? So the conversations are going to be ongoing, and therefore you have to keep using, I think these 6 bullets are summing up the entire presentation. Now, I think it's already 8:12. I'm so sorry I've exceeded by 2 minutes. With your, I'm just going to take 5 more minutes and then end the uh, talk. Okay. I mean, actually, I've ended the talk, and I just want to tell you all that as a parent, get into. I think this slide is very, very important when it comes to careers. One is you yourself try and assess the talent and the motivation of the child. Okay, just don't go by the interest, because interest without talent is not going to take us anywhere. And therefore, you also try and assess the talent. The talent could be in drawing, the talent could be in photography, the talent could be in sciences, etc. You also find out the motivation. Is your child getting motivated to study biology, motivated to study physics? Why not getting motivated? So when you are having career conversations, these are the things, assessing talents and motivation. Secondly, I think psychometric assessment tools are very, very important. I think it is extremely important to consult a professional career counselor, especially. See, it's quite possible that maybe my statistics is that 3 to 5% of the children are actually sure what do they want to study and why do they want to study. Now, if your child may say, okay, what do I want to study? But if the child is not very clear on why they want to study, then they may end up making a mistake, because they may get attracted to a career without knowing what that career is. And therefore, I think I mean, see, we are into career counseling and we do that. And that's not the only reason why I'm telling this, but because we genuinely believe that today the risk of taking a wrong decision is very high. And therefore, you have the right kind of career conversation. You can actually encourage and motivate your child to go for, career counseling, because this career counseling conversations with career counselors, I'm saying like us, but anyone whom you trust, okay, they will actually be a big boon is what I strongly believe. Okay. And therefore, I think making use of psychometric tools like competency tests, etc., which of course career counselors will use, will be a very important thing. So openness to using these tools. I mean, see, sometimes we as parents are very highly educated and qualified, but then assessing a child's competencies also requires a little bit of a scientific assessment. And that's where, so when we are operating from our adult mode, we can actually use all the resources available, including scientific psychometric testing and career counseling. Okay. So I would encourage that. And third is exploration. So if you find talent in a particular area, try and explore what are the various careers. Allow the child to explore. You also sit and explore along with the child. And that is only possible when you are having the right kind of communication with the child, which can happen through transactional analysis. So with this, I would like to kind of end the presentation. If you have any questions, I am available for questions. These are some diagrams, but I don't want to take too much of your time right now. Okay, so this is what we do, and you can ask your questions to us. I hope you found this session of utility to you all. You can just let us know whether you found it useful, not useful, etc. It's just a feedback. You may not have to type right now. You can send us a message if you want, so that we know whether you found it useful. So what you can do is you can keep being in touch with us. You can join our WhatsApp community so that you will keep getting updates on our sessions on alternate Wednesdays, plus the programs that we do. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Career Ashish Dikshit Career Mentor. That is the YouTube channel. Our WhatsApp number is also given. So if you want to ask us anything about your careers, etc., or if you want to set up an appointment for doing career counseling with us, this is the WhatsApp number. It is 85916 50481. You can visit our website to get to know more about us or any of our social handles, etc. So, yeah, so that's it from my side. Any questions? Feel free. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Vaibhav sir.
Ashish. I think it was a very informative session, though some of the concepts I had heard earlier or I had, learnt about it during my management studies, but never really got to applying it. So this was like a very good refresher, and I think I'll be a little more conscious now on
Thank
at
you.
least.
Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so much.
Shilpa. Thanks a lot, Shilpa. Thanks a lot. Thank you for attending. And I wish you all the best for applying it, because knowing the concept is one thing and the real deal is in applying them. So,
Correct,
in
correct.
fact, if we are thinking that, if there are a lot of parents who are interested in doing a proper workshop, we'll of course, send you some checklist and take a poll. And if parents are interested, then we will actually have a full day or a 3 hour workshop on transactional
Yeah,
analysis. Because I think
sure.
personally, it's a phenomenal tool to have a breakthrough in terms of relationship with your children on conversations related to career as well as all kinds of conversations.
Correct.
Especially, children growing up, children at the age of 11, 12, you need to have different kinds of conversations with them. It's a brilliant tool. So let's see, if you all are interested, you can tell
Sure.
us and
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
organize something. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share anything? Any questions? All right. So if you have no questions, you can definitely, if you have questions later on, you can write to us. If you want to do career counseling with us, we'll be very happy to do that. And I would like to end the session formally now. Thank you once again for attending the session. Wish you a good night and all the best in implementing the concepts that we've learned today. Thanks.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Ashish sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye.